Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. I hope you guys can hear me. If you can, give me a thumbs up, and I'll know everything is going well, and that you can see me and hear me. I see Tommy from Austin, Texas. Hello, and Dearest, Dearest. I don't know if I said that right. What's up, everyone from Charlotte, North Carolina? You guys can all see me, I hope, and hear me. And I'm hello. Great. And Backstage is on there too. So everybody is accounted for. Hello. And thank you for joining. It's so great to see you guys again, sort of in this way. I hope you're all healthy and happy and doing well and talking and you know, recording voiceover if that's your thing, or you're here for the first time and you just want some tips on how to be a voiceover artist. I'm Laurie Burke, which you may or may not have seen some of my videos before, but I'll tell you a brief little intro about myself. I've been doing this for about 15 to 20 years, on air actress, as well as a voiceover artist, the voice of Google. Voice, hundreds of voiceovers, thousands of voiceovers, sorry, hundreds of on-air productions. I was a on-air host for Common Sense Media for a long time. That was great. I've done voiceovers for pretty much every tech company you can imagine because I'm from San Francisco, as well as the Emmys and some animated films. And I've got to do looping and just a ton of stuff. And most recently, I worked on a film with Adam Devine. So there's just a bunch of things. So you can go to my website and laurieburke.com. I also have another new website actually just for coaching, and that is, and for voiceover stuff, and that is virtualvoiceover.com, which I forgot to put in the link, but maybe Katie could do that. Katie, it's virtualvoiceover.com. But anyway, you can check all that stuff out later. Today, we are here to talk about how to record the best sounding voiceover. Now, most of you are just starting out, right? And by the way, we'll take questions more towards the end. Ask them during here, though, because I do review them after these lives, and I use them to answer questions on my YouTube channel and on my website and Instagram and all that stuff. So I use every question that you ask here. I try to address over the million streams of media that just seem to be growing, social media. So please do ask questions, and also go on my YouTube channel and you can ask me questions there, and I'll be sure to be able to answer them there because I'm not able to always answer them on here after we go live. So anyway, just wanted to put that out there. Okay, so anyway, most of you I think are probably, a lot of you are just starting out. Maybe you're making the transition from acting to voiceover, particularly right now. It's so important because so many things are going the way of voiceover, even more than before, which is great for me to hear because, my life hasn't changed that much. I'm in a studio, usually alone recording anyway. But also that my love of voiceover is just growing and growing and growing. And it's expanding to a lot of people that probably wouldn't have thought of this as doing it for a career or doing it as another art form. And I do look at it as an art form. So that's just something to note. So I'm really glad that you're here. So I'm sure there's a lot of actors out there. And if you are interested, the previous videos that I've done, I know I have two that are up on my YouTube channel, and also Backstage has them. And one is on microphones, how to get, because we're going to go over this as far as this is all part of how to make the best sounding voiceover. Microphones, as well as how to set up your studio. So I want you to check those out afterwards if you'd like, and hopefully that'll give you some more information because I'll be referencing those today. So the first thing to do with how to record the best sounding voiceover, and I'll get to coaching in obvious, I think that's an obvious thing, is know what you're doing, but we'll get to that later, is know what you're recording. This seems like a very silly thing to say, know what you're recording, right? But have you ever really been hungry and you've eaten something really quickly and then you're like, I don't even know what I just ate. I don't know about you, but I've done that. You're like, I don't even remember tasting that. I know it was really good and I know it was really fun to eat or whatever, but I don't even remember eating it, right? It's kind of like that with voiceover. I don't know why that dawned on me this morning, but I know that for a while you can read things and you and record them. And especially if you're like me and you've been doing it for so many years and you get in the studio and you have to go and do an audition or whatever it is, and you're like, I don't even know what this is about. I just recorded that. I just recorded for 2 hours and I don't know what this is about. Now, I have stopped doing that, obviously, once I realized many years ago that it doesn't make a very good recording when you don't know what you're talking about. So it's okay that you don't know all the tech things or exactly, but really get a good sense of what the script is about. And there's more about this. There's obviously a big method that I have called the talk method that goes through how to analyze a script and everything like that. But for you out there that's just watching this, that just want some tips right now, just really get a sense of what you're. Hey, stop for a second and go, what am I talking about? What are these words trying to say? Okay, so that's number one. Let's just get that out of the way. Number two is, where are you recording? Okay, now that's a really, really important thing. And again, I have a whole video on home studio that you can watch, and the setup and how to set that up at home. But let's say, okay, you get the audition, right? Because I could already see the questions going off in your mind. And you're like, oh my God, holy crap, I am out in the middle of nowhere. I don't know where you are, but you're like, I don't know where I can go, where I can actually make, Laurie said to make this like a really good surrounding, otherwise you're kind of blowing your chances, which is true. If it's a really crappy audition, I've been in casting too, is you're probably not going to get the call, right? We're like, we don't need, that person didn't really even take voiceover seriously, or maybe they're not really into it. I can hear too much in the background. I can hear a lawnmower. I can hear people talking. I can hear music, whatever it is. You want least resistance behind you getting your voiceover booked, right? So I want you to go and look at the most quietest place that you can find in your house, or even, here's a story. I said one in another video. I don't know if this was in my microphone video or studio video, but I was I was in Hawaii and they have roosters there. And I had an emergency voiceover, which was made me laugh because what could be an emergency for a voiceover? But anyway, but I wanted to do it, of course, because that was paying for my vacation, right? That was great, that came up while I was there. So I had to I just had to start looking around. This is many, many years ago. And that was what got me on the traveling in voiceover. And every time I get into a room or a hotel room or a place, I look around and go, okay, if I had to do a voiceover right now, where would I go? Right? I look at corners, I look at closets, I look at, under the bed, I look at building a fort in my bed or whatever it is. And so one time in Hawaii, I had to go underneath the coffee table and put a whole bunch of yoga mats and blankets. And luckily, my brother is a sound engineer, so he helped me do it. And the roosters were going off, so I had to go in between the rooster sounds. Right. So that's one thing. But also, when I was in Hawaii, gosh, yes, I do try to go to Maui as much as I can. Um, there was a very important audition that I had to do. And there was no, I mean, the roosters were going off, everything was everywhere. So I went into a car. And I went into a car. You can bring some pillows with you to kind of pad it. Don't go next to a window because that'll be reflective. And really get in there and hunker down. Now, I've had to do this on sets as well. I was on, for example, the last movie I did for Jexy, we were building a booth every day. And so to get clean sound. And, I was jumping in vans, I was going under tables, I was going in like underneath stairs, and we just padded it as much as we could, to make it sound good. It's just really important that they hear your voice. So I hope that gives you some sort of idea. Just start looking around. And again, watch those videos. I go into more in depth of treatment and things like that. And I'll be doing more videos probably on treatment later as well. So so just subscribe and I'll do that, as well as Backstage. Backstage is wonderful source of information for people. So yeah, just stay tuned for that. Now, the second one is, what are you using to record on? Now, I've touched on this as well in my microphone video. A lot of people are using their phones. Okay, that's fine that you're going to use your phone for an audition. Again, for audition, once you get into this, you move up, right? Maybe then it's a USB mic. Maybe then it's a large condenser microphone, which I go over again in other videos if you want to find that information. But your audition should sound as close as possible as it would sound for the for the final. I know that you're not all going to have home studios right away, but right now, trust me, if you want to get into this, you kind of have to. You have to. If you want to make a business out of it, which I have done, you really have to, because that you're not always going to be reliant on your agent to call you in. You have your own clients and you produce your own recordings and you send it back and forth. Okay. So you don't just rely on one thing. And that's in another video on agents. So anyway, but uh, really you want to record on as good equipment as you can. Now, if you have your microphone, that's fine. I mean, your cell phone, that's fine. Go to a very quiet place again and make that as quiet as possible. There are a few apps, and I'll try to put those either on Backstage, or actually I'll try to put it on my YouTube channel, that I use, that are great microphone apps that are really good. They also have little microphones sometimes that you can put on the end of your mic of your cell phone that makes it slightly better. And that might be something that you might want to look into as well. They're inexpensive. For me, I'd always try to go back to my home studio or wherever I have set up that has really good sound. So if you can do that, you're way ahead of the game. And I have been hired because of that. I've been hired because of the quality of my voiceover. And by the way, that audition I did in the car, that worked out well too. So you really, they said, oh, I could just tell the difference of what a professional you were, right? I was on my really good microphones. I was in my great quiet place. Again, I've booked also when I haven't been, but I've made the best of what I had around me. Okay. The next thing is plosives. Plosives are, again, kind of a giveaway of that. When you can, plosives are your P's and it's the amount of air that's, what, just by the way that I'm saying that, you know what a plosive is. We use pop filters for that. And that is also a part of the whole microphone and studio setup. If you don't have a pop filter with you, and you can really adjust where your phone is. Let's say you're using your phone because you're uh, not at your studio, or your microphone. Actually, you could adjust where you are and really try that. Another little trick, if you can't do that, is try to put a pencil in front of it. Now, the minute that I put a pencil like this in front of my mouth, I can feel the air going through and how it's cutting that air. Okay, so puh, puh, and you can feel it. It's going to go right there. So hopefully everybody's at home going like this. Puh, puh. Yeah, I can see that, right? Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Anyway, so your plosives might give it away too, because and you hear that on the recording, especially in an audition, and it really kind of ruins the whole integrity of the recording. So that's something. I prefer a metal pop filter over a mesh pop filter. Again, I have links and stuff like that that you can look on other videos. So that leads me to the other one, which is distance from your microphone. That is really important. The closer you come to your microphone, let's say you're in your studio, the more bass you're going to hear, right? But you're also going to hear probably more plosives, right? Maybe more S's, more mouth noise. I should do a whole video on mouth noise because I had a lot of questions about that. So if you distance yourself just a little bit, again, I like this kind of hang loose kind of thing for how far you should be from the microphone in general, but that's just a general consensus. All microphones are different and all setups are different. You just don't want your voice to be bouncing off the walls and the ceiling and anything reflective. You don't want any glass by you. You don't want any paper. Is another thing that if you hold the paper and the microphone's right here, you can actually reflect off the paper. So you want to kind of place that over here, maybe. Okay, so that's another thing, that reflectiveness. It could be a window, it could be anything that's in front of you. I like to put things, on a tablet as well. That might be something, but just be really conscious about that. Okay, about what you're doing in that. Now, another thing is, if you can, edit out your mistakes before you send that in for your auditions. I'm talking about, not even if you can. Yes, do it. Edit out your mistakes. It's very important. You've got a big lag maybe in the beginning. Maybe you've got a big lag at the end. Edit that out. Every app that I know that's for recording is on your phone too, has the capability of editing it. Okay, so it's really important that you do that. One note about recording, I do remember, a lot of people record on their iPhones, let's say, which is great. and on the memo. And a lot of times that doesn't translate into an MP3. So you want to make sure that it goes to an MP4. And a lot of agents don't like that. They like, they say, no, please send an MP3. So then there's a whole other system that you go to bump it into an MP3 and not an MP4. So anyway, um, just, just you'll know that if you're somebody that has had that before, you'll know what I'm talking about. You really want to, usually for auditions, it's MP3. For actual files, it's an AIFF full file or a WAV file. Your coach will go over that with you. Anybody that you're studying with will know this. Anybody that you work with will know this. I tell everyone, I coach them on where to set up everything and how to deliver it, and how to, make sure that the recording sounds good before you let it go. It's just like social media. The minute you press that button, it's gone, right? So you can't take it back. So edit things out. If you mess up, don't send that in, obviously. Redo the whole track. Also, when you do redo the whole track, you might want to go back to the beginning and just redo it. Don't think that you have to just cut out that word. I do it all the time, but that's hard to match if you're not used to editing all the time. So just start over from the top of the sentence, okay? And then another thing is, don't just do it once and send it off. Try it many ways. Try it many ways and do it. And again, if you're studying with somebody, and hopefully you are, they'll help you find your voices and your different ways and your different styles of doing it. But don't just send in the first one that you do. Really take your time with it. And you know what? It's really important, and this leads into the last one, which is take a breath, take a break, and have fun with it, right? Sometimes you get so wrapped up in your head. I know my students are like this, and I have to kind of talk to them and say, look, you know what? It's okay. I've been there. I remember in the beginning where you're trying to do an audition or even a job that you have to send in on your own. And you're just in that studio so much for so long because you're just like, at some point, just saying the word toe sounds weird. Like toe, is that how you say it? Do you say toe or is it toe-y? It's toe. You get to where you just overanalyze everything. And at that point, you just got to back away. You have to take a break, get some water, get some fresh air, come back and do it in a little bit and try it again. Okay. Because it's not rocket science. It's fun. This should be fun. This is a creative outlet for you. To me, it's very much like every other creative thing that we do as actors, right? We are creating something. We are creating a story. We're telling a story with only our voice. And it's so important that it's fun and you have a good time and you deliver something that you're proud of. And that really comes through. That comes through in ACEs. When I hear something for casting and I can hear a smile. You know how they say you can hear a smile over a phone call? You can hear a smile over a voiceover for sure. You could hear the gravitas in something as well. Everything and the pauses, and just be happy that you get to do this and you get to create something and send it in. Don't be so focused on the perfection of it, because there really is no perfection of it. Everybody's got a different style. Everybody's just like when they pick people for commercials or films or TV, everything. It's subjective. So just be you, study as much as you can. I told you I would come back to that because I always do. I believe in studying. I believe in find a coach. I'm pretty packed, but you could always get on virtualvoiceover.com and check that out, or my website, laurieburke.com. But find somebody to work with you and to really figure out all the voices that you have inside and to really know what you can do with your voice. I think we need that I had a coach too. It's not like I believe in studying. I believe in nonstop studying for the rest of your life, really. I mean, as far as like learning new things, not voiceover, but, learning new things. And so I think that, it's really important that when you go into an audition or a project, you just have to remind yourself, I get to do this. I get to be creative today. And I'm going to deliver the best thing I can. So now let's take some questions and see. That's like when I do Meisner work. Words are weird. Yeah, that's right. Meisner, I use that all the time for all you actors out there. Do I have actors out there that have studied Meisner? I've studied a little bit of Meisner myself. It is a lot of repetitive. right? And you're going back and forth, and you're like, okay. And the training is to kind of let the words go, and it's more the emotion behind it. And yes, that's all of this is useful. All of the acting things are useful in all of this. Here's somebody said, I'm sorry that this is off topic, but should you pay to be a non-union productions after the auditions? You shouldn't ever pay to be in a production. You should never pay to be in a production. I don't, yeah, that's hopefully that just answers that. Period. Somebody asked me that last time. Should I be paying something like for an agency or something? No, no, you should not be paying anything. So, somebody is asking, I think about the foam on my walls. You know what? I'll put that on my YouTube channel. I'll put a link on my YouTube channel for the foam on my walls. Somebody just asked me that. So that's go to Laurie Burke. Sorry, it's down there. I think it's down in the description. I think Katie's so good at that. I keep mentioning this because I always forget to mention like my YouTube channel and my my website and virtualvoiceover.com. And I'm going to have classes and I'm doing all these things. And I want you to sign up. And if you're interested, and I'll send you more information on everything voiceover. So yes, yeah, I got that. I got the foam, Carolyn. Thank you. I figured it out. Somebody else about SAG is SAG worth it for brand new beginners? Brett, for that question, it's a very individual question, and it depends on what market you're in. I was from San Francisco, so or I am from San Francisco, but I worked a lot in San Francisco, and that's a non-union town. So then, maybe in the beginning, you want to get as many jobs as you can, and that might, depending on where you're at, that might actually hurt you to be in the union at that time, right? I am in the union now, but there's a lot of different decisions you can make, and then at some point, then you get into the union, unless of course you book a big job, and you're in the union and you get residuals and stuff like that. You're just going to have to weigh that out. I was at a time where my agent was like, "Please don't." This is in San Francisco, way back. But then there came a point in my career where things were coming in that were SAG jobs. We weren't getting a lot of SAG opportunities in San Francisco, but then we started getting more, and that's when I went union. So you're going to have to look at that. You could look at FICOR too. There's a lot of decisions to make. Okay, about that. Maybe that should be another thing I could do a video on. So I'll think about that. Should you write your own lines for your demo reel? Any information on demos? Aaron, thank you for asking. I will put that up on my YouTube. I did a whole thing on demos. I will put that video up because that has some places to go for that, for scripts and stuff. The scripts, you can write whatever you want, you guys. I mean, that's the thing about voiceover. You create anything you want. What I will say, Aaron, is that you should work with somebody that can find your voices so that you know the right copy to have on there and the right style to have on your demo, right? To showcase those voices. So it's not only the voices, it's also what you're reading that will evoke emotion and things like that. Okay. So I hope that is very, very, very true. Okay. So best microphone for beginner for voiceover one. Again, you can watch my my video on microphones. It's on my YouTube channel, and that gives you a couple of ideas. And as well as I have information on Backstage as well. I know Backstage. There you go. Backstage is putting another link up there for that. And there's a lot of things for beginners. It depends on if you want to get. I mean, microphones are an interesting thing. I have many of them. I believe that you work your way up. You start where you're at, right? Don't buy a microphone and then learn how to do things. Learn how to do things and then buy your microphone. What I said before is like, you don't buy a Maserati and without a driver's license, and not know how to drive. It's kind of defeats the purpose. So don't invest a lot of money into something before you know that you really want to do it and that you really enjoy doing it and that you want to make it big. And then that kind of dictates how much money you're probably going to spend on a microphone, right? So there's a lot of USB mics that are good, that are really good, but personally for professional, when you go into more, you want a large condenser microphone or like an SM7B, which is what I have, a Shure, which is this actually. Yeah. But I've got a lot of them, or you could have a Rode. There's a lot of different mics that I like, and they're different levels, right? So you have to find the one for you. Unfortunately, right now we're all kind of staying in, and so we can't do a microphone shootout, which is where you go and you test the mics. But there are ones that you can take off of reviews and again, watch some videos about it. Okay. Yes, the metal. Somebody said you mentioned a metal pop filter. I have a lot of hard P and T sounds with a cloth filter. Would the metal help? Paul, yes, and I'm glad you found this, Paul. You sent me a message before, I believe. Uh, yes, there's different. I should do a video on that too. There's different way that that your air goes up and the metal filter goes up as far as instead of through, which is the foam. That's the simplest I can say in the limited amount of time I have. So I believe that the metal are better. That's it. Now you could also try two pop filters. See what you can do, Paul, to also alleviate that those P's and S's in a different way. There are some post production things you can do as well, obviously on how to make the best sounding voiceover. But I believe most people, most every person that I've worked with, they have sound engineers for that. You want to deliver a file that doesn't have anything on it. Okay. You want to just deliver a really good voiceover. Don't start doctoring up your auditions and things with, different ambient noise, ambient things. And I mean, for singing, I know reverb, hey, reverb always sounds good, right? For us singers out there. But that's not what you want for a voiceover. Otherwise we'd all be doing it in our bathrooms, in our bathtubs. We don't want that. We want a very dry, very clear sound that they could then manipulate and add music to and things like that. Okay, so if something's not working, try something different. Try two pop filters. Try putting a pair of pantyhose over that too. That in the old days, in a pinch, you would have a MacGyver it. You would have a hanger, and then you would put a pantyhose over it, and that was mesh, and you would try that. But also the angle that you're at in the microphone. There's a lot of things you can do for positioning when you're really having one of those days for P's and S's. Okay, so what you do when you lost a certain voice you had in an audition and can't get it back when it's time to go on set. Cameron, I don't know if you've studied with somebody. Hopefully, you probably haven't because you should have locked that voice down and practice it over and over again. I'm sure you still have it, Cameron. You just have to find it. And you have to find a method of how you retrieve those voices. This is what I teach to all my students because I say, listen, I have never been afraid of failing. I've been afraid that I haven't been prepared. That is what we want, right? We want that when you go into a studio or on set, that you actually you always have tricks in your bag. You always have something that you can go to, and you always have some sort of system. For me, it's a very like a methodical system that I use. So I am never stuck and I never panic. Okay, so you didn't lose it. You just got to find it again. And I'd say, Cameron, go back to training. Train with somebody. If it's not obvious, me or whoever, go to somebody and make sure that you have a way to retrieve that voice. If you're doing this and you're getting paid for it, and that voice was on your demo, whoever worked with you on that, they should have made sure that that voice you could deliver that all day long because that's very important. You don't want something on your demo that you can only do like for a split second. You want something that you can really deliver all the time. Okay. Let's see. Hi, how can we train with you? Oh, hi, Vala. Thank you so much for asking. Well, two things. That's nice. I am pretty full with private students, but you could go to my website, laurieburke.com or virtualvoiceover.com. Virtualvoiceover.com is now I'm moving everything over there to be more just training and coaching and sign up. You could either sign up for a personal one, but I don't have a lot of those, but I'm coming out with a class and I'm coming out with courses. I'm coming out with a whole bunch of new things. So do get on my mailing list, you guys. Go to virtualvoiceover.com and get on my mailing list. And then I will let you know some trainings that are coming up and webinars. And I'm going to just do a whole bunch of fun things. Besides this, I'll be here too. So, but besides this, so check that out. And hopefully I can meet you and work with you and all that stuff. So anyway, are there more important tips? What are some important tips you wish you knew when starting voiceover acting? Rena, I did a whole video on that too. Okay, so wait, I'm going to have to put that out too. Go to virtualvoiceover.com. I'm going to put that on there. That's a webinar or a way to put it, and on my YouTube channel. Okay. And I will be sure to, because that's actually my like exact title of the webinar that I gave. And it was only to a few people that signed up. So it was just sign up on, get on my mailing list, and I'll be sure to get that out for everybody. Okay. All right. So I am going to have to go in a second. I'm going to take one more question, and that is it worth it to try getting booked on jobs gigs on your own, or should you just get an agent? Oh my gosh, yes, get jobs on your own. Yes, get jobs on your own. I can't stress that enough. It's so funny, even as an actress, I've been an actress for on air, TV shows and films and all this stuff for years. And people are like, God, you work so much. And I said, yeah, well, and they go, you must have a great agent. And I was like, well, I like my agent, but I'm booking most of these, and it's relationships I've made. And maybe I worked with them. I'm lucky enough to where I've worked with these people. And then, they've used me for 15 to 20 years and they call me back for this. I have another project, or I wrote another film, or I did this, or I did that. So you absolutely should, especially in the beginning, before you have an agent, get as much experience as you can and book your own stuff. Backstage is a great place for that, right? Backstage is great. You could book all that stuff. The arrangement that you have with your agent, if you do that, is up to you. That's something I want to, you to talk with them about, saying, hey, my stuff is my stuff, your stuff is your stuff, as far as the percentage that they get and things like that, if you already have an agent. If you don't, you guys start working, really start working. If you've trained and you know what you're doing, and you're very confident about your read and you enjoy it, please start doing it. Okay. And again, thank you, Backstage, for doing this and for providing so much information for everyone. And it was so great seeing all of you. Please do go to the links below, and come visit me, say hi, let's connect, get on the mailing list. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Keep talking, stay safe, and stay healthy, and have fun. All right. Bye.